Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel. September 29th, 2017.
105 here on the great WRKO. Okay, I have an incredible story for you. On every level. The nature of the left, how totalitarian the left has become, and now they're going to be gunning for professional hockey. It's just, trust me on this, it's a phenomenal story. But first, this has just broken right now. There is a new poll out that shows that the favorability of the NFL has now nearly been cut in half after the anthem protests, literally in half. So, a new poll, this is a hat tip to the Daily Caller, a new poll has now come out that shows that the favorability rating of the NFL among supporters of Donald Trump in particular, among Trump supporters, was nearly cut in half after more than those 200-plus players began to kneel during the national anthem last week. Morning Consult conducted the survey. It's an extensive survey, and the results, there's no other way to sugarcoat it, are a very bad sign for the NFL. So, according to them, the favorability rating among Trump supporters had basically had a net favorability of 30%. This was on September 21. After the protests, after the kneeling and the protesting and the locking of the arms, that number was practically halved to 17%. And so what is now happening is that the fans are saying they're sick of the NFL. They're going to tune out the NFL. They're not going to watch the games. They're not going to buy the tickets. And so, as the Daily Caller rightly puts it, dropping from 30% to only 17% in 1 week is a massive red flag for NFL management. In fact, as any smart businessman who would look at these numbers, they would now realize the NFL is in crisis mode. And yet, rather than understanding that they're in crisis, they're just doubling down. Now, I told you, they're trying to, well, let's stand and lock arms. If we don't kneel, if we don't sit, if we just lock arms, then the fans are going to forgive us, or they'll understand us. Okay? Guys, you want to go out of business? Go out of business. And so the Kuhner Country poll question du jour, as the French would say, of the day, sponsored by Bill Kelly Financial Services. Will you be watching the Pats game this Sunday? The players say they will stand for the national anthem, although they may be locking arms, we'll see. So many of the Pats players say, no, we got the message, we will stand. Will you watch the game anyway? If the answer is yes, text the letter A to 680-680. If the answer is no, text the letter B to 680-680. To be candid, I'm not watching. I don't care whether they stand, whether they lock arms, don't lock arms. Honestly, this whole thing is sickened me. So, to be candid, I'm not watching. The Kuhner Man is a big, fat B. No. You can also vote online at WRKO.com. Brittany, what are the poll results thus far?
90% of the audience is with you, Jeff, and 10% says that they will watch the game. So 90% will not watch the game on Sunday. 10% say yes, they will watch the game on Sunday.
See, that's crisis.
Yeah.
They're in crisis right now. They may not realize it, but they're in crisis.
They are.
Are you an A or a B, Brittany?
Kuhner, I'm a no. I wrote a whole column about how I'm not going to be a Patriots fan anymore.
So you're with the Texans. Are you going to watch it if they're on TV? Would you watch the Texans?
The Texans? See, I don't know.
Because they're the only team that stood for the anthem. They did not participate in these protests.
It depends, I guess. We'll see how I feel on Sunday, if I'm going to watch the Texans or not, but it's probably just a no. I think I'm just going to take a week off from watching anything, and hopefully they come back. But other than that, I'm done with the Patriots. I might watch the Texans. We'll see.
617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, my friends. So now the NBA is going to be joining all of these protests against the anthem and the flag. We played the clip of Sam Kennedy, CEO of the Red Sox, saying, hey, the players want to kneel? Go ahead and kneel. We've got their back. So now it's going to start infecting Major League Baseball. The one professional league that is now holding the line is hockey, the NHL. Now, this is a very important story. I want to give a super hat tip to John Nolte from Breitbart News, an unbelievable column. So, there is a professional hockey player. He's one of the few black players in the NHL, but he's a superstar player. He's extremely good. I know him because he used to play for the Canadians. I mean, I know of him. Patrick Subban. Okay, my family, my niece, my sister-in-law, at least they used to. They love this guy. If you watch the Bruins, and the Bruins and the Canadians have an intense rivalry, he is a killer. Even the Bruins fans will admit it. This guy can play hockey. He is an absolute killer on the ice. He's now playing with the Nashville Predators. The Subbans are well known in Montreal. They are Canadian. They're Canadian. Their heritage is that of Haiti. And like many Haitians that I grew up with, they speak French, wonderful immigrants, very well assimilated, very hardworking. They know what real poverty, what real suffering, and what real racism is, because they experienced it on the island of Haiti. And that's why they're one of the most grateful and, frankly, one of the best immigrants Canada's had. Okay? But let that go. So Patrick Subban, black NHL player, was at a private fundraiser. At that private fundraiser, he was asked, hey, you're a black player. There's a lot of pressure on you now to kneel during the national anthem when the season starts. Patrick Subban said, not only will I not kneel, not only am I not anti-American, he then pointed to his friend who was at the fundraiser. He's a member of law enforcement. He said, I am definitely not anti-police or anti-cop. My friend is a great police officer who puts his life on the line every day for you and me and every law-abiding citizen. But then he said this, I will never protest the American flag or the national anthem because America has been so good to me and my family. Not just that I play in Nashville, but even when I played for the Canadians, most of the teams and most of the league is in America. They helped make me rich. I love America. I wouldn't be a multimillionaire today if it wasn't for America. And so he said, not only am I not going to protest, I want everybody to know I love the flag. I love that anthem. I love America. And he's a Canadian. He's a Canadian who says there's no way in hell I would ever kneel for the national anthem. But it gets now worse. Here's the kicker. So, a journalist, a sports writer for Yahoo, Greg Wyshynski, he covers the NHL and he covers hockey. Well, guess what? He is a white liberal, a white leftist. He is now gunning for Patrick Subban, and other white sports writers, other white liberal sports writers, are now trying to shame and bully Subban, saying, how dare you not take a knee? And so Wyshynski wrote this, that Subban should be ashamed of himself. He goes, he will not take a knee. He will not take a stand. PK Subban is the guy who decided with his team not to do so and then told the room without cameras rolling that he would never protest during the anthem. Sorry if this let you down, meaning all the liberals out there, because you believed an outspoken player like Subban would stand in solidarity with other pro athletes or would symbolically share your political beliefs through his actions. Nolte makes this point, but I want to repeat it because I think he is so dead on, it's not even funny. Look at the left-wing fascist playbook. Look at the first phase of the fascist left. What do they always do when it comes to same-sex marriage, transgenderism, healthcare, and now these NFL protests. What do they always say? What do they all say? What's it to you? If they want to live their lives that way, that's up to them. It has nothing to do with, are they hurting you? They're not hurting you. So live and let live. Leave them alone. Remember? That's what they said about gay marriage. That's what they said about transgendered people. That's what they said about Obamacare. If they want health care, what's the problem? It's not going to affect you. These players, they want to protest, let them protest. Doesn't affect you. But then they end up coercing everybody. Because what happened? If you own a bakery or a photo shop and you don't want to participate in a same-sex wedding, guess what? They bankrupt you and fine you and destroy you. Transgenderism. Now your daughter is forced to go to the bathroom with some adult strange male who may be a cross-dresser or God knows what. In other words, they've just coerced your family. On Obamacare, they now mandate you to buy garbage, overpriced health care. You're mandated, whether you want it or not, through the nose. And now, when it comes to these professional athletes protesting, remember, in 1 week, they've gone from they have a right to protest to bullying and shaming anybody who doesn't protest, especially if you're a black athlete. It's no longer you have the right to protest. Now it's why the hell aren't you protesting? And it's what the liberals and frankly the left has done with the Democratic Party when it comes to blacks in particular for over 100 years. This is the great lie of the left. It was the Democrats who supported slavery. It was the Democrats who supported segregation. It was the Democrats who supported Jim Crow. And what did all of these white progressives, what did they say about, to black men in particular, accomplished, proud, independent black men who wanted to think for themselves? What was their answer every time? Getting a little uppity there, ain't you, boy? Hey, boy. What you doing there, boy? Boy, why don't you... Hey, you kneel, boy. Boy, when I tell you to kneel, you kneel. Hey, boy, that Black Lives Matter flag, boy. You stand for that flag, boy. Not the American flag. Black Lives Matter. You stand, boy. Hey, boy, when we tell you to jump, you jump, boy. What? You're opposing us, boy? Don't you dare raise your hand against us, boy. That's exactly what they're now doing to Patrick Subban. It is exactly the kind of liberal racism that they have used against proud, independent, accomplished blacks like Patrick Subban for over a century. Hey, boy, watch yourself, boy. Watch yourself. If this guy doesn't want to kneel for the national anthem, what the hell is it to you? What, he doesn't have the right to free speech? He doesn't have the right to his own opinion? He doesn't have the right to his own conscience? Now you're going to try to bully and shame this guy and make him seem like he's some kind of an Uncle Tom? Because what? He's grateful? He's humble? He knows what real poverty and real racism is? My friends, enough is enough. This is what liberals do to blacks whenever they try to break away from their thought plantation. Shame on you. Jay in New Hampshire, you're up next. Go ahead, Jay.
Yes, Dr. Kuhner, first-time caller. Thank you for taking my call.
My pleasure. Welcome, Jay.
Earlier, you spoke with somebody that was going to boycott the pro shops. I think that's a pretty good idea. However, why don't we hit Daddy Warbucks? You know, the people that pay $1.5 million for 20 seconds during a Super Bowl? Why don't we start boycotting these sponsors like Calvin Klein, Pepsi, Coke, Chevrolet? Hit them in the big pocketbook. Get some phone numbers out there. Let people start calling them. I think you're going to get a lot of stirred action from people that size.
Jay, I think is brilliant. I agree with you. Chevrolet, I don't buy Chevy. Pepsi, I'm a Diet Coke man. What are some of the others? I mean, I generally don't frequent these sponsors, so honestly, it's no skin off my back to begin with. But I love that idea. Go after the sponsors, and maybe the NFL will realize, if we keep giving the fans the middle finger, maybe we're going to go bankrupt. Maybe it's not a good idea. Emilio in the North End. Go ahead, Emilio.
Thank you for taking my call.
My pleasure, Emilio.
Okay, Jeff, listen, I told you that my father was missing a national anthem.
Emilio, do me a favor. Can you speak your phone? Call back. Your phone is not good. We need a stronger connection. Jerry on the Cape. Go ahead, Jerry.
Good afternoon, Jeff. Happy Friday. God bless.
Thank you, Jerry.
I think they may have found this sacrificial lamb in Joel Ward. Do you know who Joel is?
He's an NHL player who I think he says he may kneel, correct, for the NHL?
Correct. They found this sacrificial lamb because of part of it, they keyed in on what happened in Boston a few years ago. There was one moron who tweeted something out racially after the Bruins lost to Washington in an overtime playoff game. And I said at the time, this is going to come back to rear its ugly head again. And sure than heck, 4 years later, didn't it happen, Jeff? Joel Ward's a nice guy, though. I think he's torn on this. I really do. He says he may consider it, but now he says it's not going to further any cause if he does it.
I hope he doesn't, and I hope the NHL owners lay down the law with their players and say, "Look, guys, we're not going to go bankrupt. Okay, we're not going to follow these other idiots off the cliff. They want to jump off the cliff, let them jump off the cliff." But I got to tell you this, I've never been a really big hockey fan. I swear, I'm going to start watching hockey. I'm going to start watching hockey. I mean, I used to like it when I was younger, but, last, 15, 20 years, I just don't have time. Football, honestly, I'm done. Baseball, I'm done. Basketball, the NBA, I'm done. Hey, that leaves the NHL. If they brought back fighting in a big way, I'd really be a big fan then. Sue in Ipswich. Go ahead, Sue.
Hi, Jeff. Thanks for taking my call. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Go ahead, Sue. The floor is yours.
Terrific. Well, what surprises me is why there isn't some sort of national outcry to remove Roger Goodell from office. He's a terrible cancer on the NFL at this point.
Sue, I'm with you. And, I don't understand a lot of these Patriots fans on talk radio that are defending Goodell now because they just hate Trump so much. He's the guy that shafted Brady. He's had it in for the Patriots from day one. Now, you see what he wanted to do to the Pats? What he wanted to do to Brady? Now he's going to do it to the NFL. He is going to screw all of you big. So that's what happens when you have a politically correct left-wing moron running your league. Eventually, he's going to be to the NFL what Obama was to America. Mark my words. He's going to drive it right into the ground. Colleen in North Andover. Go ahead, Colleen.
Hey, Jeff. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, but I'm really aggravated. You asked if we were going to tune into the game. I will tune into the game, and the first camera shot of people linking arms, I'm out. I think what they're doing is no different than what terrorists have done. When the terrorists realized they could no longer fly planes into buildings, they started driving trucks into crowds, like they did in London and France and Spain. And then sometimes we're not quite so resourceful, so we have a little workplace violence. By doing that, by having all of them link, they're making the one guy who may have the gonads, if there are any on that team, to do what's right, because they're going to make him look ostracized because he doesn't join in the crowd. I'm so annoyed with this whole thing. They're insulting our intelligence to think that if they change the form of protest, we will somehow find it palatable. There's nothing palatable about this.
Brilliant. Absolutely. Honestly, I love that analogy. I love it. They were flying planes into buildings, then they shoot up workplaces or they drive cars. Well, that's what nobody's dying. I'm not saying it's that, but, kneeling. Oh, let's not kneel. Oh, let's not sit on the bench. Let's continue the protest. How? Yeah, let's link arms. Let's lock arms. All of us. We'll all lock arms. And you're right. The one guy, because when you stand up for the national anthem, what's the proper decorum? What's the popular, way to behave? You put your right hand, on your heart. Well, now the one guy who's going to say, no, I don't, get your arm away from me. No, I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to put it on my heart. He's the guy that's going to be ostracized. It's disgusting. It's Weasley. And that's why I keep doing it. You may think we're stupid. We're on to you. 617-266-6868 is the number. Let's take it to Evan in the newsroom. 136 here on the great WRKO. Okay, my friends, we're going to return to this topic, I promise, in the next hour. But there's other important news out there, and I've got to say this. Now the left is really going after Melania Trump. This story, again, it's local, but it's national. It's always the People's Republic of Massachusetts. So it's always ground zero. I'm serious. When it comes to some of the zaniest, craziest things you'll hear from moonbats and from PC progressives. So listen now to this. Apparently, there's an elementary school librarian here in Massachusetts who rejected a donation that was made by First Lady Melania Trump to her school's library. And in particular, it's, no shock, in Cambridge, the Cambridgeport Elementary School was one of a very select few number of schools, that was chosen by the White House to receive 10 Dr. Seuss books for National Read a Book Day. I read Dr. Seuss when I was a young boy. I love it. I have a copy at home. I read it to Ashton. Ashton loves it. It's a great book. What the hell is wrong with Dr. Seuss? But let that go. So, an Uber Moonbat, Liz Phipps Suero, hope I'm pronouncing her last name correctly. She is the librarian at Cambridgeport Elementary School. And so what she did is she penned a blog, an editorial actually, for a family reading blog. And she openly said, I'm not taking the book. Even though it comes from the White House, even though it personally comes from First Lady Melania Trump, even though it's a donation to help, for the school, for my kids, people who go to the Cambridgeport Elementary, no. Quote, my students have access to a school library with over 9,000 volumes. And a librarian, meaning her, with a graduate degree in library science. Oh, wow. Oh, I'm sorry. Talk about self-puffery. Well, congratulations. What are you, the first in your family to get a graduate degree or something? I have a graduate degree in library science. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, well, you're a real expert then, huh? We should all bow down to you, huh? But kneel. No, don't kneel. That'll be offensive. So, she says that multiple studies showed that schools with professionally staffed libraries, i.e. her, improve student performance. So basically, I'm great. I've got a graduate degree. And so I think I'm an elitist and I think I'm an expert. And people like me were just invaluable. Schools do better with people like me, so hire me. Hire more people like me. Hell, give me a raise. She said, however, that her school, Cambridgeport Elementary, quote, does not have a need for these books, meaning the Dr. Seuss books. And she says, look, we've got 9,000 volumes. I don't need this. So she then goes on a rant that it's underfunded school districts who are apparently closing down their libraries. Why? Because of school choice programs. You see, school choice. Conservatives, they're the villains here. And so send the books to them. Because, you evil conservatives with your school choice, it's underfunding these school districts, and they don't have the money for libraries and for professional people like me. Experts, know-it-alls like me, geniuses like me. So send the Dr. Seuss books, basically blank off, Send the Dr. Seuss books to somebody else. Send it to another school. But then it doesn't end there. This is the kicker. So this Phipps Suero, this librarian, then goes after Melania's choice of books. So Dr. Seuss for the little bambinos, listen to this. That's racist. That's inappropriate. She says that the Dr. Seuss titles are, quote, tired cliches for children's literature. Quote, you may not be aware of this, but Dr. Seuss is a bit of a cliche, a tired and worn ambassador for children's literature. As First Lady of the United States, you have an incredible platform with world-class resources at your fingertips, i.e., you're an idiot, you're stupid, I know better than you, and it's just so gauche. It's so pedestrian. Oh, barf. Oh, barf. Finger in the mouth. Oh, you chose Dr. Seuss. Oh, come on. I don't know. So middle class. So beneath me. So ordinary, you know. So she goes on to say that the Dr. Seuss books contain illustrations, quote, listen to this, steeped in racist propaganda. So basically, Dr. Seuss is now, those books are racist. And they're full of racist propaganda. So she says there's an alternative list of 10 books that she recommends. And some of those books, I swear to you, they advocate for the legalization of illegal aliens. You see, no. We don't want Dr. Seuss. Nah, that's racist. Nah, don't. We need books about how to give amnesty to the DACA recipients. We need books on giving amnesty to the illegals. Hey, viva la revolucion! We got to start propagandizing. Hey, the kids got to start getting propagandized first, second, third grade. That's what we need. Come on now. Preferably something with a hammer and sickle. Now, apparently she went rogue. Because according to the Cambridgeport Elementary School, she says that those opinions expressed by Phipps Suero's editorial, in fact, violate school district and, in fact, school policy. And so they went on to say, whoa. She's got no authority to either accept or reject the donation. So they claim that she has been, quote-unquote, counseled on school policies regarding political activity. Quote, in this instance, the employee was not authorized to accept or reject donated books on behalf of the school or school district. We have counseled the employee on all relevant policies, including the policy against public resources being used for political purposes. In other words, here, I just slapped myself on the wrist. I don't know if you can hear it. I just slapped myself on the wrist. So they basically give her a slap on the wrist. Now, a couple of points need to be said, and then I want to hear from you. 617-266-6868 is the number. Number one, I don't care if you've got 9,000 volumes, 10,000 volumes, 15,000 volumes, 20,000 volumes. When your school is selected by the White House to get a donation of books, it is simple courtesy and respect to say thank you. You take the books. It's an honor. It's an honor and a privilege to be recognized by the White House for anything. That's point number one. Point number two, and more importantly, why hasn't she been fired? She has no business to be using school computers, school property, to be clearly advocating for a leftist or any political cause. And for her, who the hell is she to decide whether this Cambridge Elementary School should either accept or reject a donation? The last time I checked, you're not the principal. The last time I checked, excuse me, are you the superintendent? I know you're a graduate in library sciences. Ooh, forgive me. But the last time I checked, you're not running the school. And most importantly, this to me is the point that needs to be stressed again and again. Look at how they're trying to destroy everything that is good and wholesome in America. Whether it be baseball, whether it be the NFL, whether it be football, whether it be movies, whether it be popular culture, whether it be, you name it. Now, Dr. Seuss? Like, really, Dr. Seuss. One of the greatest children's books ever written. The kids love it. Girls love it. Boys love it. White kids, African American kids, Latino kids, Asian, everybody loves it. The only thing, and I'm telling you it's coming, is they're going to go after Mickey Mouse. I'm telling you, Mickey and Minnie. They're going to go after Mickey and Minnie. I'm telling you, that's the only, I'm thinking that's about it. I mean, I think you go at, Bugs Bunny, yeah, I guess so. So Bugs Bunny, Donald Duck, and Mickey Mouse. Look at, even when it comes to the children and their libraries, the left wants to indoctrinate the kids. Even when it comes to little kids, you got to give them books that peddle amnesty for illegals. Now, when I see a 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old kid, you know what I see? Honest to God, I don't see a potential voter. I don't see somebody, a potential activist that I need to indoctrinate. You know what I see? I see an innocent, beautiful child who deserves to have a childhood. They're going to grow up. They're going to have the rest of their lives to confront politics, practically on a daily basis. Leave their childhood alone. 617-266-6868 is the number. Let me ask you this double-barreled question. Number one, should that librarian have rejected Melania Trump's donation of those Dr. Seuss books? And two, Dr. Seuss, is it now a racist book? Should this librarian be fired? I say yes. What do you say? 617-266-6868. Leslie in Cambridge, who I believe is a librarian. Go ahead, Leslie.
No, Jeff, I'm not a librarian.
Okay. My bad. My apologies. I'm sorry, Leslie.
That's okay. I am 77. I'm a lifelong resident of Cambridge and a past teacher and administrator in Cambridge. And as a taxpayer in Cambridge, I'm really dismayed that this teacher took it upon herself to return those books. Full disclosure, I am a Trump voter, which is unusual in the city of Cambridge, but I do not think that that librarian had the right to insult the President of the United States and his wife by returning those books. It's absurd that Dr. Seuss has a racist message in those books. It's just absurd. The Obamas, as you know, held a celebration of Dr. Seuss's books, and they have read those books to their own children. So where does this librarian come off as being a censor of which books the children in that school deserve to read?
Oh, Leslie, I love the word that you used. I think it's accurate and very and beautiful. I think it's just very descriptive. Censor.
Yes.
What gave her the right to be a censor? Brilliant.
I'm wondering if she has Huckleberry Finn in her 9,000.
Oh, that's gone. Oh, Leslie, I mean, if Dr. Seuss is racist, Huckleberry Finn, that's Klan literature now for these moonbats. So, no, look, Huckleberry Finn, Tom Sawyer, these are great American classics. But I just want to say this, okay? Speaking now as a former educator myself, as a professor, a university professor, I read Mein Kampf. By the way, I read the Communist Manifesto. I would accept donations. Forget Dr. Seuss, which is a beautiful, innocent book that children love. All children. Why? I would accept Mein Kampf. I would accept the Communist Manifesto. Why? Because it's an incredibly important, historically important book. If somebody gives me a donation, it's free. It's never mind from the White House. Never mind from the First Lady. I don't care how many volumes I have. Thank you. Instead, look how they put their ideology and their left-wing politics above even the children they're supposed to serve. Shame on you. 156 here on the great WRKO. You can text us as always, 680-680. This is from 603. Just a brilliant text. Jeff, the left has adopted a Taliban mentality. This is their socialist caliphate. Laurent in New Hampshire. Bingo, Laurent. Couldn't have said it better myself. 617, Jeff, the Cambridge librarian acted stupidly. Will there be a Chardonnay summit in the White House? Another 617. Jeff, I'd love to know if this librarian has also rejected Dr. Seuss donations from families that attend that school. Or was this just because it was the White House? 617, I'll bet you the best steak at Hanover Street Chop House. It was only because it came from the White House. Linda, you're up next. Go ahead, Linda.
Yes, I'm a retired teacher. I worked for many years in Somerville, and now I write a newspaper column on books, and I feature books for children. And I was in the midst of working on my column when I heard you talking, and I wanted to let you know that this is Banned Book Weeks, sponsored by the American Library Association, so it makes it doubly bad that the librarian would refuse to accept those books.
See, Linda, I didn't even know that. Now, I'm just curious. I mean, am I wrong? Dr. Seuss's books, I mean, aren't they considered like classics of children's literature?
Yes, but they have been banned before.
Oh, really? Why?
Quite a few. First of all, I'm looking at the page that I'm writing about. The first one, Sam I Am, was banned because in China because its portrayal of early Marxism. Don't ask me why that is, but that's why it was banned.
So, Linda, hold on. So they're banning some of them in communist China. Well, now you know why in communist Cambridge they're banning them as well, Linda.
Well, yes, but I mean, after Dr. Seuss died, they lifted the ban, and I think it was because China didn't like the author rather than anything that's in that book.
So hold on, Linda. So communist China now allows the books.
Yes.
But communist Cambridge won't.
No.
Wow. Linda, thank you for that call. Bruce in Wilbraham. I got 1 minute. Go ahead, Bruce.
Jeffrey, born and raised in Springfield, home of basketball and Dr. Seuss. Big kudos to the Democratic mayor who didn't play partisan politics and reached out to the White House and invited the first family to come to the museum. Dr. Seuss has a museum in Springfield now.
Ah, Bruce, I didn't know that.
Yes, sir. And no EBT cards. You got to pay full voucher.
617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, my friends, coming up next, big crackdown on sanctuary cities. ICE rolled into California, New York, and yes, Massachusetts. What the hell did they find? Oh, don't touch that dial.
The voice of Boston is you. 680 WRKO Boston, 93.7 WEEI HD2 Lawrence, Boston. It's 2 o'clock.